Let's play Guess the Brand.
Oh, Guess the Brand. Let's do that.
Let's see if we can do this. Okay, who do you think this is? They're a brand with a superior product for a certain price point, and because of that, they don't really need to carry any favor with customers. So when we think about world-class brands, we think about world-class brands that customers love. This is I would call it a world-class brand that their customers despise, and one of the most successful companies within their market. Who do you think I'm talking about?
Walmart.
Not close. It is Ryanair. So Ryanair is an incredible brand. Like if you actually go to Trustpilot, Ryanair have 1.5 stars out of 5. People hate them. They were voted as the 4th most hated brand in the UK. Let me tell you who was the 3 above them. Kipp, which is the brand that brought you Brexit, Tories, and Marmite. People really hate Marmite.
The bar is low.
The bar is low. But the reason I'm bringing them up, actually, there's 2 things I wanted to talk to you about. First of all, they do great advertising. So they had this killer ad that a lot of people were referencing on Twitter over the weekend. Crypto Bros yesterday, and it was a guy flying in a private jet. They also tagged this really famous Bitcoiner who some months ago said, I'm never, ever flying Ryanair. And they must have just kept that tweet and they retweeted it over the weekend and said, welcome back, when are you flying again? They were full on troll of the crypto community. They were brilliant and timely advertising, like plugging into a current event. We talk a lot about brand on this as being something that is like lovable, emotional, like how do I connect with my audience? That is not Ryanair. Ryanair do have an amazing brand because they keep it very focused on their value prop, but they troll their customers. They never bend because of their customers. How do you think about that?
We always associate brand with positivity and humor and levity and all those things, which is good and important. But there's actually a foundational layer below that, which is authenticity, right? If you talk to any expert in brand marketing, they'll tell you is like, if you aren't authentic to who your company is and how you operate and how you treat your customers and everything for your brand, nobody will believe what you say about your brand. The thing about your brand has to be rooted in that layer of authenticity. And what we're saying is actually Ryanair is nailing authenticity. They know exactly who they are, and they are just leaning the hell into being this authentic version of themselves. And they're like, look, yeah, we're not the nicest, we're not the easiest person here.
If you think about, let's go full marketing textbook. I never studied marketing, but if you have the most famous, thing of marketing that's taught is the 4 Ps: product, place, price, and promotion. Ryanair have really nailed is price and promotion. So they are very focused on being the lowest cost airline for that segment of users. And they never deviate from that in any of their brand advertising or anything like that. They never deviate from that. And all the choices they make as a business, they never deviate from that. Even when there is overwhelmingly negative customer feedback about all of the things customers have to go through to fly Ryanair, they never deviate from their core brand position. And it's interesting, actually, when you look at the data, 97% of people who fly Ryanair said they will fly them again. So they actually, when we think about customer loyalty, that's an example.
Super loyal.
Yeah, super loyal, hate the brand, love the price. They have the perfect balance between misery and price, where price, the advantages of price actually outweighs how miserable people are in flying them. So I think they're a really interesting counter example of a brand. We usually talk about brand, I think, at the opposite end of the scale. How do I create a really large tribe who love my brand? This is a brand that actually do something a little bit different. They create a huge loyal brand around their pricing. Their product is laser focused and always ensure that they are the lowest cost for their customers.
I love that. And I love the trolling. I was watching some of that on Twitter over the last few days and it was hilarious.
Yeah, they're really good.
I'm kind of here for anybody or any brand being who they are, right? And I love that they were who they are.